Ladies and gentlemen, so excited today to talk to fellow comedian Erica Kuharski. How are you?
I'm very good.
Is this a Polish Kuharski?
Yes. Polish. Any ski you see is usually Polish.
Right, don't they say Polish spell it last name ski because they can't spell toboggan or something? What's that joke? Do you know that one?
That's very offensive.
I just
try not to.
Oh, you're right.
Just kidding. The toboggan. Yeah, I can't spell toboggan. So that's actually true.
So there it is. We got it down. We got our Polish audience here. You might be my first Dakotanian. Is that the Dakotan that I've talked to? And by the way, cheers! Thanks for doing the show today.
Cheers!
And we're doing your show Sunday night. So for anyone in the Clarksville area in Tennessee,
yes, or Nashville, it's not that far.
I said that in my chat today. I said, oh yeah, it's like outside Nashville. People were like, it's an hour away, and I was like, yeah, like I said, it's outside Nashville. What are we doing?
Or 45 minutes, good traffic. Yeah. Get out of the city.
Get out of the city, live
Clear
a little.
Your head.
So I want to talk about your comedy and how we got to Nashville, because you've traveled. You've kind of been like sort of living a little bit of a nomadic lifestyle, right? Yeah,
South Dakota most of my life, and then I met a boy,
As you
and he was in Las Vegas. I saw him doing comedy, and I'm like, well, if he can do comedy, like that's actually obtainable. I'm not making fun of him. Shoot, I said it.
No, that's what comedy is.
Yeah,
it's not. You're not watching someone make a painting. It looks relatable.
Right. I was like, man, he's doing it. That's what I want to do. I was like, he's also cute.
Well, how'd you meet him? Was he performing and you were in the audience?
We were both performing on a show. What's interesting, so this was a mutual friend that I met at a festival that I didn't even want to be on because it was $20 to be on it. And then the producer is also our improv director. He's like, Erica, just do it. And so he got me on it. I meet this girl, her name's Krista Kay, and she's judging it. And then she brings Mario on the show back in South Dakota. She's like, hey, do you want to be on the show? I'm like, heck yeah. And then I get really sick. I'm in the hospital. I come out, the show's in a couple days, and my friend is like, are you sure you want to do this? I'm like, the whole time I was in the hospital, this is all I could think about. Like, I got my set together, I want to do this. And so at the show, I meet Mario, who's now my fiance, and it was basically that moment of he made me laugh and I made him laugh.
That was it. That tripped it. How you dated a comedian before that? Are you like? Was that like?
I dated two.
Okay.
I'm a repeat offender.
Usually when someone dates a comic, they go, I'm never, like, isn't it funny when you hear advice from people that are always like, never date an actor? It's like, somebody fucked you up, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, hey, comics, you know, we're generally known as lovers. We're also selfish. So, like, sometimes it can be hard for a relationship to work until you find that right sort of, puzzle piece. But it sounds like you guys have that.
Yeah. I think we come from different worlds, but we have similar backgrounds with how we were raised. So there's a lot of similarities that we have other than comedy.
How did he make his way to Dakota? Because it's like, all right, it makes sense that you were there, but like in the grand scheme of things, this is pretty unique kind of setup.
So Krista was his friend on the Humor Collective, which is the podcast he did. Used to be a Vegas radio show. And then after the pandemic, we changed it to a podcast. So they were both co-hosting on that. And Krista, she just recently went into real estate, so she's not doing comedy anymore.
As you do, you get into real estate.
Right, which makes you a great real estate agent because you can sell, you're upstage, but now you're off stage, and it's pretty easy. But she was really good at the business end of talking to everyone, socializing, and she originally was from South Dakota, in a smaller city, and that's how she kind of got the networking.
She lured him into the Dakotas where you were waiting.
Yes, I was like, perfect.
You know, when people talk about this, dating is hard. I don't disagree, but I think you need to be out in the flesh of the real world. And I feel like a boomer when I say that. No, you can't be doing this. But it's like, you met the guy, and you knew you clicked. Your chemistry versus if you did something online, you might paint a red flag white, or you might make him into something he's not, and then you're disappointed. It's like you kind of let your intuition figure it out.
You got to catch him in the wild. A lot of people play Pokemon.
There you go.
You gotta go walk around.
There you go.
I think my dating advice would be, if you're not like get off the apps, yeah, but also go do something that you're interested in.
There you go.
Whatever interests you, because you'll meet someone who you don't have to persuade to be interested.
Like going to emo night, go meet a guy who goes to emo night. Maybe that's, I don't know if that's a good reference, but yeah, go like,
that is a weird.
Go find yourself a stadium of people that could provide you someone, and it doesn't mean you have to be like, I like architecture, so it's like, it loosely, like you can loosely find somebody that's maybe compliments you, like you and Mario aren't identical, but you share common things. Like, did you know right away your relationship was going to be like serious? I
knew it, but he fought it. It's just like I've been through people, and then when I met him, I was like, ooh, I hope no one else sees this.
Yeah.
Like,
you hit him in the back of the yard sale?
Yeah, I was like, you go over there, hide before anyone realizes what you have. A lot of people, I have, the humor, but it's hard for me to talk to people. And his conversation, I think we talked for like 3 hours after the comedy show. And like there was this moment where he went out to have a cigarette, and this other guy was talking to me. I was like, I can't wait till Mario comes back, because this is really boring. What me and this guy were talking about, and it was kind of like, oh, I really want to keep getting to know this guy.
Oh, how sweet!
Yeah,
what a sweet story. And then you said he fought it, which is,
did.
I mean, he's like, I'm gonna go to Dakota, get some road, whatever, and then all of a sudden it's like, all right, well, hey, that's the story.
Well, so he came back for Sturgis motorcycle rally, and then every day I would visit him during his like off times.
So he's a comedian and a biker?
No, he just
double red flags.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't have a motorcycle. That's a green flag.
Yeah.
Yeah, for some people. For me, he was doing the bar back, so running around. But it's like a festival.
What do you mean bar back? What does that mean?
So you have their bartender, and they need liquor.
Like actually working it. Oh, I was like, is this some motorcycle term? No, I know what a bar back is. Yeah.
How you always say, that's how they make the drinks. So he would work like 10 hours. I'd show up towards the end of his shift, and then we'd go listen to the band that was playing at the venue.
Oh, fun.
And then hang out in his tent. And then, so things were just going great, and it was really difficult to say goodbye to him when he was going back to Vegas. And it was like, there's something when someone really important leaves you, and you don't know if you're going to see them again. And I was like, I got to see this person again. So I told him I was going there for comedy.
Okay, started off with a lie.
Just comedy.
Good.
Okay, other relationship advice.
You don't want to spook the person. You don't want to spook them.
Because it's like, we can date, but if it goes south, I'll stay for the comedy.
By the way, I have to let the audience know we are driving through the Times Square of Nashville. So if you hear random women screaming, there's pink cowboy hats everywhere.
Yes, these are the woo girls.
The woo girls. I mean, this is absolutely wild. I mean, it's daytime here. The whole street's just abuzz with drunks. But anyway, so we're gonna have to battle my ADHD as we have a good convo while people are just getting sloppy.
This is pretty fun.
Yeah, you live really close to this area.
Yes, we kind of picked it so we could walk down here whenever we wanted, because parking here is about $50.
Yeah.
So unless you park, I don't know, 5 miles away.
What a wild city. So you lie to them. You say, I'm not going to go. No, I'll steer us away, and I'm going to steer us back. So
okay, gotcha.
So you lie to them. You go, I'll be there. Oh, I'll be in it. Hey, let me tell you something. Every guy who's listening to this has done that. Oh, yeah, I work nearby. It's like 9 miles away. Okay,
it's just outside of the town. Yeah. It's just an hour.
Yeah. So you create opportunity to see him again.
It was really... I was going to go there and just stay with him while I looked for a place. And then his roommate got married and left to a different state. And so he needed a place. And I was like, what if we just looked for a place together?
Had you already canoodled? Have you already been hooked up, or is this just like still shooting the shot?
It was like we were dating, but we weren't dating. There was no labels.
Gotcha.
So it was like not too far-fetched to be like, let's just live together. But we were not dating.
But I love it. I mean, the economics is something that inspires lots of people to cross the threshold. I mean, that's how it always was in history. It was like, you needed to go till the soil in the farm or whatever. So that's nothing new. It's just now it's like, all right, let's save a few bucks.
Right.
We're already seeing each other. Like, let's just...
And then a couple days go by, and he asked me to be his girlfriend. So then,
How did he ask you?
well, we were on our way to a comedy show to go watch it, and he was like, "Can I introduce you as my girlfriend?"
Oh, that's sweet. Mm-hmm. Gosh, that's old school.
I was like, "Darn tootin'."
There's darn tootin'. That's the Dakota way of saying fuck yeah.
Yeah, hells yeah.
Darn tootin'. Well, let's go back to the early days. What was dating like? I want to know about dating, but also about comedy. Was you were doing improv? Mm-hmm. What got you into that?
I think was it college? I think I did one class in high school and loved it because that was my life, was just bullshitting. And then college, there was a club, so I did that for 4 years. And that was really fun. And then I got to do stand-up a couple times there. And then I moved back to Rapid. And there was, so this improv troupe that I joined, the first show I went to, I walked out of.
That so, you were performing in?
So I'm not a part of their troupe. I go to their show, because my brother's like, oh, there's an improv troupe, maybe you'll be interested. I'm like, okay. So I go, I pay my $10. And the first game they're playing is this, like, charade game where they don't actually talk, but they go, like, zaba zaba doo, blah ba doo ba da.
Yeah.
And I listened to that for about 5 minutes. It was like, I hate this. These guys aren't funny. And I left. And then, like, a couple months later, they had a club to join. I was like, okay, I like clubs. Okay. And then they used that club as an audition into their troupe. So then I was invited into the troupe. And then I told them we're never playing that game again.
I walked out on that game. Mm-hmm. You know, improv's strange, right? Because it can be crazy, good, or bad. And it's just about, because, stand-up, you have, as a comic on stage, have to let your audience know why something's funny. Mm-hmm. Improv, you have to connect with everyone else there. It's almost like a football team. Everyone has to be on the same page. And as an audience, you know if their performers are not on the same page. You know if they're contradicting each other or not mm-hmm. getting something. And it can be brutal out there.
Yes, and it can be really difficult.
Did improv, I mean, it's got to help your ability to read people. Because a lot of times in an improv scene, you're looking at your partner, wondering where the hell they're going.
Yeah.
And in a relationship, you kind of have to do the same thing. Mm-hmm. You kind of have to be like, I got to read you, because what people tell each other in a relationship isn't always what they mean or want. And sometimes because we lie to ourselves, right? So like it's hard to know what the other partner wants or what they're actually telling you. Like, mm-hmm. do you want me to go with you to buy shoes or not? I don't know what you're telling me. If it doesn't always line up.
It's always go buy shoes. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah.
Like, okay, yes. There's a lot of undertones. There's a lot of body language. I'm a big reverse psychology, and it's like, use that for good, not evil. But if you tell me not to do something, I'm gonna do it. Like,
yeah. So
if you tell me not to do the dishes, I'm gonna do them. So like, please.
I'm that way in the relationship where I might, like the other night we came out with Valentine's. We went to an early dinner because I messed up reserving the restaurant. So the only thing that was available was 4 p.m. And I was like, first of all, my wife's going to love this. 4 p.m. Mm-hmm. Italian, like, come on. So I had to like spin it in that direction to be like, honey, you love early Italian. We'll be in bed by 7. It'll be great. She's like, you didn't book a restaurant, did you? I was like, yeah, we had that issue. But anyway, we come home and I'm like, all I want to do is get on the couch. I want to digest my food while I get on the couch. And I'm sitting there. I told her that, but then she's now like cleaning something. And I'm like, what are you doing cleaning something? Come on. It's like, but I was like, all right. Mm-hmm. So now next thing you know, I'm cleaning something because I can't enjoy sitting on the couch if she's like clinking and clanging. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, being responsible.
Together, yeah. Let's be responsible later. But to her, she's like, no, I want to do all this so then I can relax. I'm like, I need to relax so I can do all this. And it's like, we're complete opposites. But when it comes down to it, I'm not relaxing and again, I don't know if this makes sense to everyone or nobody. I'm not relaxing if I can hear her huffing and hawing and vice versa. So I'm like, all right, you win. We're doing the dishes, then we'll relax. Mm-hmm. And we did, and it was fine. But that's a relationship. It's like, how can you compromise for things that really don't matter?
That's totally relatable. I do that too. I get like really angry, so I start cleaning.
Yeah,
Because it's like, I could destroy something, or I could just, there's, who says it, where it's like, you can't make fun of someone's bedroom if your bedroom's dirty.
There you go.
So it's like, I'm really upset about XYZ, so I'm gonna make sure everything's fine, and by me doing something, I get less angry, and then I had time to breathe and think and be like, okay, now I'm in a calmer state to address what it is I've been thinking about.
Which is good, because a lot of people don't realize when they're not in that state. And we, you know what, when I talk about it, we call it like the limbic flare. So like your limbic system is like your fight or flight mode. And so often in that mode, we want to address the thing that's pissing us off. And then we're going to bring up the other things. And it's like, that's never received well.
Right.
And like, how can you get yourself out of the limbic flare so that you can actually properly communicate? And I mean, not to like force a relationship into how it works with improv, but with improv, it's like, you kind of have to be in like a flow state where everyone's on the same page, and all this, everything has to be set up right in order to do the hard part, which is to communicate. And in a relationship, I mean, plenty of relationships just don't make it past that first fight, because you're like, this person's crazy. And it's like, are they crazy? Or, you know, like I still, 10 years into my relationship, well, like last night, we were coming home from something. I was like, let's run by the furniture store, because we're trying to buy, you know, we don't have any furniture yet. And I was like, first of all, that was a bad idea on my end, because I didn't have the time. And the next thing you know, we're at the furniture store. The guy's making these stupid jokes that she's like forcing laughs in. He was making a joke about furniture delivery versus, I couldn't even tell you that he was trying to make a joke that we'll deliver the furniture, but you got to deliver the baby, because she's pregnant. And I'm like, I get you're making a delivery joke, but I don't have the energy. Like, I'm not here to laugh. I'm here to buy a nightstand.
Yeah.
And then I look at the time, and it's 6:30, and the open mic starts at 7:30, and we haven't been home for dinner yet. And I just start like, and the steak we bought's a week old. It's 1 day from the expiration date, and I'm going through all these things, and that's what's going on in my head. But outside, I go, honey, I'm gonna be late. And she's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, and she's like, it's not my fault you're late for your... And I was like, I know. Okay, here's the deal. I'm stressed because there aren't as many opportunities to do stand-up here, so I need to take advantage of them when they're... You know, and I had to like talk myself down from the thing that came out, which was... Blah, blah, blah. And that was like, that's not communication. She doesn't know what I'm saying. So it's a work in progress probably for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I totally understand that, because it's almost like when you're explaining it, then you're quickly scheduling in the time to explain. Like, there's something about time management where it's like, I don't have time to explain to you. You just gotta trust me. We gotta leave by this time. But the thing's at 3. I don't care. I know this traffic.
Yeah.
Like, I've got so many things to get done.
And when time is tight, like in movies, there's always a time constraint. The bomb's gonna go off in 10 minutes. You need time constraint in movies and TV, because in improv and whatever else, because it builds urgency. In a relationship, that urgency triggers your limbic system. So I've had to learn, all right, let's not squeeze in something that's stressful, because I'm the type that's like, all right, get the red couch, done, we're out. I'm like a quick, and my wife's like, no, we need to sit on this. How does it feel? I'm like, it feels good, I'm late. And you know, that's stressful.
I understand both sides.
Yeah, so you got to learn how either side plays, because one's not right versus the other. Like in my relationship, I can make quick decisions which are good for the relationship when that's what it serves. And she can be like, which crib do we want? And she can sit about that for a week and figure it out. And like you can kind of support each other in your different styles, you know? But anyway, enough about me. In your relationship, what I like about you guys is you're in that cool stage that you look back on as cool but probably sucks, which is the do-it-yourself producing stand-up shows. You guys are like punk rock, green screen. Like when I went in to do your podcast, I was like, oh, cool, because that's what I do. It's like the like I said, do-it-yourself green screen. You got the whole setup, the lights, you know, this and that. I'm like, you're like, oh, we're playing jazz music, and I'm like, why? And you're like, because we can hear the traffic sound outside. And I'm like, I fucking love it. You know why? Because we're in a car right now, because I don't have a studio. Like necessity, the necessity of us doing bullshit to make bullshit happen. I respect that when I see it. So tell me about the grind. Talk to me about that.
Okay. The grind, sorry. My brain got a little distracted. So the producing the show, we pivot. That's what we do. So we weren't getting booked, and we're like, how do you get booked in Rapid? Oh, I make my own shows. Like, why are we not doing that? Why are we not generalizing this information? It's like, oh yeah, I know how to make flyers. I know how to like advertise. I don't know how they do it in this city. And then the podcasts were like, oh, it was a radio. Why aren't we doing it? It's like, I don't know. We bought all this equipment and we're too worried about, I don't know. It's like, well, let's just do it. Let's get in there. And like the more that we've been putting forth our effort into things we actually care about, the more we've been seeing success. And it's just like, it's incredible to be like, oh, if I sacrifice like a little bit of what is expected. So like on Valentine's Day, it's like, I really want comedy to pay my bills. So if I keep spending money on things that don't contribute to that, I'm going to have to get like a full-time job again. So what we did, because I really wanted sushi, but luckily it was Wednesday and Publix does $5 sushi.
There you go.
I was like, we can get a bunch of sushi, go home, watch Harry Potter, and then we still get to be comedians.
By the way, you would trigger the hell out of my wife right now because she can't eat sushi.
Oh, sorry.
Pregnant? No, and she loves Harry Potter.
Oh, no.
So she's literally like, at the moment she delivers the baby, I'm going to have the laptop open playing Harry Potter and giving her sushi. So,
nice. Yeah, get her like one of those big
the tray
catering.
just sits on her belly as she...
Yes.
Yeah, so, but that's great. So, yeah, I mean... You're right when it comes down to like money buys you time, and if you don't have the money to pursue what you need, then you need to spend time doing what you don't want to pursue.
Correct.
Because and then the crux of it is, what I've learned is people that have the money or are financed through their parents or whatever, while that seems like generous of a parent, it doesn't give you the urgency and the desire to get your goal. So I don't even know, this convo might be jaw-dropping to the person who needs to hear it or make no sense whatsoever, but there is urgency in pursuing your dream, and the resources that come from working towards it and really making decisions of, do I go out to dinner or do we get Publix sushi? You guys know that the Publix sushi gets you closer to what you're trying to do, and I think that's really cool.
Thank you. Yeah. It's hard to explain, like, so people think big sacrifices are, like, this tremendous thing. But it's just little things, like, I've really pulled back on what I expend, and we don't make a lot now, but we don't spend a lot. And what we're doing is just, like, well, we have all this time. And before the holidays, we were hitting the mics, and we kind of lost our, it's like 2 weeks to make a habit. We lost it because, again, we went to family, and like what you're saying, if like you're with your parents and they provide everything, there's no urgency. And I got really like homey and just like, ooh, cooked meals, yay. Oh, we can just sit around, watch TV. It's like, wait, I didn't write a joke at all these like 10 days.
Yeah.
Like, wait a second, what am I doing?
No, there's no boss telling you to go right. There's no, it is really, really challenging to be like, all right, I gotta go do this grind. But the grind doesn't have to be. Now, I always strike out on the limitations that are set by like you don't need to have it's not about a poverty mindset. It's not about a scarcity mindset. It's about deciding, like I did this for years. How much money do I need to make, and to get by, and not a penny more, because that's just like, you just can't do everything in the day. You can't have a corporate job, or maybe you can, but not everyone's in a different scenario. So I feel like a lot of the audience that I hear from, they're people with big ideas, but they don't know how to get from maybe the health insurance they have at this job, or they have a family to provide for to the free fall of pursuing your dreams with all your energy. And everyone's got a different roadmap. I mean, for me, I was fired after my first corporate job at 23. So like, it was an easy decision for me to be like, all right, tried it, not move on. But we almost get like lured into maybe comfortable situations that actually take us away. I talk to my wife about this all the time, about the idea that the reason why most lottery winners lose their money is because they don't, it's hard for people to realize that it's not about the money, it's about the passion. And if you're rudderless and don't have a passion, that money, that dopamine rush from having a bigger TV and a bigger, that goes away like that if you're not living a life that feels authentic.
Yes. The money will always come. I've been trying to focus on that. I learned that from a comedy show this summer. I was so worried because we had to put down a $300 deposit on the venue, and I was worried I wouldn't make it back, be in the hole, and have no one in the seats for my comedians. And it was
How stressful too, because that's kind of like, that's the producer side of things. Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God. And so I was so focused on the money, just because it was like my money. I'm like, oh no, and then I also can't pay my comics. And so we finally get the week of, we're selling tickets, and I see it come past the break even. I'm like, we're good, we got a show. And then it goes to the profit side. I'm like, yeah, I could pay my comedians. And like, I'm so glad Tyler Corvine pulled me aside. He's like, yeah, but like, let's give him a show. Like, I don't care how much you pay me. It's like, I want to make sure we're funny. I'm like, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay. Money's all handled. It was like an hour before when we do our warm up. So this was an improv. I was part of the improv troupe, and then we had Mario headline. Okay. And so we warmed up for an hour, got our heads in the right space. I'm like, right, they're only here to laugh. They don't care how much money we make tonight.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Okay, if I'm funny, you guys will follow me wherever I go, no matter the ticket price. But if I don't craft that, if I don't make you want to come back, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Like, I'm only here to make people laugh.
And it's hard to have both sides of the brain, where you do have to have the business side. Like, we are all our own business owner, and you have to have that side of the brain, but also, all right, who am I on stage? And it is like you have to have it's like you're having an affair, because you have one, you just like you're two-time in each side.
They're
you're
watching you.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Some people, I know great comedians that can't get themselves on stage. I've worked with them. They cannot get themselves on stage because they're like purists, and it's like, look, bud. You know, no part of my business side of my brain takes away from my creative side. You just need to remember to water it all. And you have to know that the opportunity to perform, and I said this on a recent podcast that I heard like a rock star or someone, maybe it was a comedian, they said, you don't pay me, you know, they were like doing arenas, they're like, you don't pay me $50,000 to perform, you pay me $50,000 to fly to go to the place to perform. So the goal is to perform, and if that means you have to bet on yourself and take a risk and hope it pays off, then that's what you got to do. But it is hard. Like, you do see a lot of people that get into producing that have a hard time going back to just performing, because they do become like administrative, you know.
Yes.
Like, and that's the battle that we all have to face. I mean, I've had that with my YouTube and podcast, where I'm like, all right, I need to put down I need to like take less hours towards this, which essentially means I'm taking money I could be making out of YouTube, and I need to put that energy into stand-up, because I know long term that's where I want to be. That provides me more joy than this other thing. But
right.
you're still like dealing with the devil, because you still, you know, I can't abandon the YouTube, because then I don't have the funds to be able to do this. Like it's all like a very delicate ecosystem we have to figure out.
A lot of balancing. Yeah, I need to look at my calendar again, because I got this streaming with my plant, and I was doing good. It was over Christmas. I got to 1,000. I'm like, cool. And I made $1. I'm like, Mom, I made $1. I'm like, I'm making it. And like, I just haven't gotten back into it. I'm like, but people love that. I don't know why, but it's kind of like your YouTube. I can use this plant to feed into my comedy.
So for those that don't know, you've got a plant, a money tree, I believe.
That's making me money.
That you speak, you narrate.
Yeah.
You almost puppeteer.
Right.
This plant. You're a plant puppeteer.
Yeah, you know how...
So not necessarily a green thumb, a green voice.
Yes. I project myself onto the plant. I don't have a therapist, but I do have a plant that I talk to.
Hey, take what you can, right?
Right. You know how when you talk to your dog or something, and it's like you have this voice for them in your head, or like you talk to them like they just solved the math equation. I don't know what your relationship is, but that's kind of me in the plant. I talk to her. We do this thing where I play blackjack, and if no one's playing, then I'm like, all right, plant, hit or stay. And then I just like stare, like, all right, oh, busted.
And this plan is, well, but, you know, I mean, Jenny Slate is the comedian who founded, she created Marcel the Shell.
Yeah.
So if she can create a shell and animate, bring that to life, you can speak through a plant. The vegans will love you.
Yes.
So I think you never know. It just goes to show you never know what thing might push you through, because it's about expressing your creativity. And if you're the first creative person to be like, I will animate this plant, not through physical animation, but through the mind. This plant is not moving, but if I sell it enough with my improv skills, I could be plant lady performing at botanical gardens all across the world.
I mean, that's kind of the goal, is just to bring the plant on stage. I should have brought her, but I was like,
you hooked your plant up to a oxygen tank carrier.
Yes,
which I think is genius. I love it.
So when it warms up, I plan on taking her on walks, because it's supposed to be like bright indirect light. And we don't have the best light on our porch. So the point is to take the plant out. We can go to a park, let her get her photosynthesis on, and then bring her back home.
I like it.
Yeah. So that's why the carrier's there.
It's kind of a weird thing. But
is it weird?
Well, respectfully, I mean this with respect. You're weird in your own way, because you had the idea to talk through a plant.
Right.
Now, I think that's great, because now you're going to build an audience of people that are like weird, that get your plant humor. And if people are listening and they're like kind of lost on this, it's like, that's fine. That's just not going to be who your core is.
True.
Do I have to cut someone off here? I can do it. I can cut someone off. I have the California plates still, so they're not. No, maybe I'll just go left.
Do you want to go that way?
I don't know. That's what the direction. Can I go left here?
Yeah, you can go left.
I'll just go left.
You can also go left on red.
I can go left on red here?
No, please don't.
I was like, if it was a one-way, you probably could.
I like to choose chaos sometimes.
I like the audience that listens on audio. They're like, where the hell are they? Right. They just hear like this random music and plant. So when I talk through my dog. Whenever my dog barks, I'll do his voice if he was speaking human. But it's become like a British boy, so he'll be like, oh, and I'll be like, Papa, feed me. But it's like, it makes no sense. But I call myself Papa.
Oh,
as the dog.
Interesting.
Papa, I'm hungry, please. And it's not your standard dog voice, but it just seems like it works for him when he's begging, because no matter with a dog, it's the same sound regardless. And Papa, give me my bath now. I don't know.
Interesting. We could dive into that. Why British
plant and dog videos together.
Yeah, we could do that. We could collab.
So the show on Sunday is in Clarksville, which we'll wrap up here in a minute. And how's your vibes towards that? Is this a monthly, or do you just like have random nights?
So monthly on Sundays, just once a month.
Once a month. That's good. You don't want to do it too often.
Yeah, and it's hard to I want to advertise it and get people hyped up about it. We did one that was back-to-back weekly, and that was hard to get back into promoting the next show when one had just ended. Oh,
you just you get that 2 hours post show where you're like, woo, and then you're like, all right, you got to sell tickets for the next one.
Yeah, it's too consistent of back to back. So the next one after this one will be St. Patrick's Day. So it's about a month
fun.
Again. Yeah.
And by the way, we didn't even mention this. I know we mentioned this on your podcast. How did you find me? Because what was really nice is you booked me on this show before I even moved here, which was nice.
So long-time listener, big-time fan. I saw your videos. I would watch because I got rid of Hulu. So I'm like, what is Bachelor Nation doing? And you had a great summary and analysis of what was going on. I'm like, cool, I don't need to buy Hulu. I'll just listen to Dave. And then I knew you were a comedian, and you'd been branching out from Bachelor News to kind of, tie in different things. And then there was one video you said, I'm moving to Nashville. I'm like, yep. How do I get a hold of you? And I found your email. I'm like, hold on a second.
No, that's perfect. That's great. Yeah, you know what's funny? It's like trying to branch out of the niche. I got a 1-star review because someone said I'm talking too much about Taylor Swift.
Oh, then we should talk about Taylor. You
You
ready?
know what I mean? I literally
What is she doing?
did I started doing. They're like, all right, too much Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce content. So now I've been going hard on J Lo and Ben Affleck, and I'm like, you thought you had it bad with Taylor and Travis. Now we're going. And look, I didn't take it seriously. It's nice.
That's funny.
1-star reviews are a good reminder that people are listening and that they care.
Yeah.
But for that person, go fuck yourself.
That's funny.
And more on Travis and Taylor.
Yeah, we can right now.
Do you follow them?
I don't follow them.
Who do you follow? Like if I was like, I'm gonna give you $1 million, but you have to do a TED Talk on this specific thing or person right now, who would it be?
Ooh, let's do Tim Burton.
Oh, okay.
Let's do that one.
Tim Burton, the director, the producer, the all-in...
Hands in all the dark.
Any specific Tim Burton?
I love... So, like, his movies, I absolutely love Corpse Bride. I can watch that and relate to all the different characters. I kind of watch it to... Sometimes I relate to the bride, sometimes to the corpse bride.
There you go.
Sometimes to the butterfly. Like, if you watch that movie,
Is he Edward Scissorhands?
Yes.
He's Edward Scissorhands?
What's
a more iconic Tim Burton? I mean, he's...
of course, Nightmare Before Christmas.
Right. Basically, anything with a very... I mean, that's what's good
dark,
about... Yeah, good with directors is when you can see, like, a Wes Anderson or a...
And I do love Wes Anderson.
Oh, there you go.
I do love that, but I don't know enough about him. And then TikTok got crazy with his new movie.
I know, right? Well, TikTok...
So much so that I don't even want to watch it.
TikTok made it so that everyone started ripping off his style because, Wes Anderson's like big, wide frame shots and very quirky. And then, of course, TikTok just dumbs everything down and they make it so that a million people are doing it. And you're like, well, it was brilliant until everyone's doing it, but...
Because I do like his stuff. I liked watching Fantastic Mr. Fox. There's some behind the scenes of how he captured great audio of actually having the actors running around and having a mic above them to get that kind of how you breathe when you run.
I love behind the scenes of things like I remember seeing Paul McCartney behind the scenes like grabbing pencils and creating percussive sounds, and it was just cool. It's just cool to see artists dance around whatever the medium is, and those guys are good representations of people that do that. So what's big picture for you? Let's go to the vision board. What do we like? What's end goal
for comedy?
Comedy and life.
Or life.
Blend it all together for me.
Okay.
Real gridlock right here, by the way. What is this?
This is typical Nashville traffic.
Is this just because there was
can go right.
some sort of sporting event or something?
I'm not being helpful.
Right here. No worries.
Yes.
We want the audience to feel like they're in the traffic with us.
Okay, life through comedy would be, I would really love to be a traveling comic. Mario's talked about clubs, and that's probably like a more focused, like clubs, but I'm okay with bars. I would love to headline the Red Rocks, would be a huge goal.
Fun.
Like, I love nature, and I feel like that would be the perfect headlining spot for me.
Isn't that wild when you see comedians? I think Bill Burr filmed his special there, right? At the Red Rock Amphitheater.
It's just fantastic.
Just left here.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be fun. I mean, when you realize, do I need to do a U-turn? Or,
you can go straight.
Yeah, you tell me which way to go here. This is fun.
I'm going to take you on a journey.
The audience gets...
You said we were done until I told you where we're going.
I like it.
Yeah. We're going to go across the bridge. Oh, I can show you the stadium.
Okay, yeah.
And then I'll be honest and
there it is.
Bring us back home. Yeah, isn't that cool?
They're going to tear the stadium down.
Really?
Apparently they're breaking ground on a new $1 billion stadium, which is just crazy because it's old. It's like 15 years old. I'm like, are you kidding
me? And it's really good. Yeah. I like that stadium.
I did stand up near that yesterday somewhere. I don't know where. But I did that backyard show. Have you been over there?
Yes, that's cool. They helped me in my comedy career because I sent them a tape that had notes. And you're holding it on stage. Oh. And they're like, we can't if you have notes.
They told you they can't book you if you have notes?
Yeah. And I'm like, that's so true. Like, if I'm going to say I'm a great comedian, book me. and my one video I send you has notes in it. It's like, that's right. So this whole Nashville experience, anytime I videotaping myself, I don't have notes.
Isn't it crazy?
So.
It's crazy. I've been doing stand-up for 12 years, and I did improv and stuff like that. I was never, like, good at it. But, you know, you have those flashes where you're like, all right, you know, I could hang with it. Mm-hmm. But I've never really felt like I've ever mastered any of it. Oh, there's the stadium. Very nice. Mm-hmm. Our YouTube audience gets a nice tour right now.
Look at this.
Of the stadium where the Tennessee Titans play.
They're not that good, but they're trying.
Yeah, they fired their coach, former Patriots player Mike Vrabel.
Oh.
So, I mean, what was the... Oh, so, yeah, you don't always realize until, in hindsight, what kind of buffering rejections can give you. Like they're really... Like, a rejection is really just a redirection, but not necessarily... But, like, you got to, like, get the ego out of the way. But I remember being, like, 1 year into comedy, being like, how come I'm not getting auditions for the Just for Laughs Comedy Festival? Now I'm 12 years into comedy, and I just don't care to get an audition for the Just for Laughs Comedy Festival. But you what you prioritize maybe early on, or, you know, I've been done stand-up long enough where it used to be the goal to get on late night TV. I don't think anybody has that goal anymore.
Yes, I think a lot of goals have changed. I used to want to be on SNL, and it's just not funny. Like, it doesn't make me laugh anymore. I really liked it during the Will Ferrell times where it's just like, be goofy, be stupid, have maybe a political sketch, and then let's just goof around with it.
Yeah, I mean, what you realize is, as hardworking as the SNL comics are, you can get the same. Like, I did an open mic last night in a winery, and I got the chance to play and have fun, and it was probably the same feeling I would have had if it was in a bigger show venue. Like, I've just realized, like, when you said, you know, you'd be okay doing bar shows, I truly believe that. Because for me, I would be, you know, like, my buddy's a close-up magician, and when you do close-up magic, you can't really do, I mean, he does big venues, but some of the best close-up magic is in these 20-seat rooms. And I'm like, I could probably enjoy doing comedy in 20 or 50-seat rooms. I would just as much have fun. Now, comics move to bigger venues because it's like, well, what are you going to do? If you can sell at the Wilbur Theater, you're not going to turn down $100,000. Like, let's get real. But everyone who does go to theaters usually romanticizes the club scene because that's when you could see your audience and breathe and touch and be close. Yeah. And I think some people, like, that's what you kind of do comedy for when it's all broken down, is because you want to be a part of a community, and if you can make someone laugh, you're immediately providing value to that community. You're like, I'm the person who's going to lighten the mood, and that's kind of maybe the tribal part of it. And not to make it bigger than what it is, because, you know, there's nothing worse than comedians, you know, talking about their gifts or whatever. You know what I mean?
Being emotional.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than that. But that's what it is. I just want to make people laugh, and there's probably a law of diminishing returns past a certain amount of people. But you have guys like Robin Williams who would say, like, if he's talking to one person, it's a convo. But if there's two people, now it's a show. And I kind of think about that when you think, like when I'm, you know, having a one-on-one convo, yeah, well, you can have fun and whatever, but when there's like, when you're at like when you have a couple people and you're holding court and it's just like different, like something happens where you're like, you get to play. Yes. And that's kind of the joy of getting to do what we do, which again, in today's world, you might not be auditioning for SNL or certain things, but you're able to put together the bar show that gets you the sandbox that gets you to actually play. And I guess for anyone who's trying to tackle whatever creative thing in their life, it's like, find a way to get yourself into that venue, whatever it is. Tell me something. leave me with some Dakota knowledge.
Oh, okay.
The Dakotas weren't. Oh, it used to be one. No, I might be completely wrong here, but wasn't it one state? Was it then divided? And they split, or is it just more the Dakotas were just a native region?
Wow, this is a good question. I went to public school, so what do you mean? What do you mean we used to be...
do you live near the pipeline? That's all I know. I know the pipeline.
I'm on the other side of the pipeline. I'm by Mount Rushmore.
Okay, near Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know growing up was man-made. For some reason, thought this was a structure that somehow...
Well, that's kind of cool. I'm sorry. That fantasy was broken. I like that a lot more.
So you've been to Mount Rushmore?
Yes, several times. I love going there. I used to work in Bear Country, which is a drive-through wildlife loop of North American animals.
Whoa. So you drive through it as like a sightseeing thing?
Yeah, it's really fun. Fun story. One day I was working in the gift shop. I think I'm 17, and they're like, hey, we need people to work the gate. I'm like, okay. So they quickly run over how much it is for kids, people, carload. And I'm like, wow, this is a lot of information. They're like, make sure to tell them to keep doors and windows closed as they go through the drive-thru. I'm like, okay, great. So I do all that. There's this person, he pulls up with a horse trailer. I'm like, cool, it's this much, yada, yada. And he's like, is it cool if I go through with this? I'm like, sure, you just got to keep doors and windows closed. He's like, all right.
Oh, man, so he's just got horses in there?
Yeah. About like 15 minutes later, we get a call on the radio of who, this guy, a game warden, or like, you know.
Were they worried that he was going to incite the bears to attack the horses?
Here's the thing, I didn't know. They fed the bears horse meat. So I did not know that.
So these horses have no shot here.
Yeah, I did not realize I was bringing in their dinner, or what
First
they thought
of all,
was dinner.
You're 17. So, that's not on you.
Don't let me.
Yeah, how dare your boss put you in the position to wonder whether or not horse meat was fed to the bears.
Yeah, I had no idea.
So they feed the bears.
Mm-hmm.
And do you see them? Are they like, is it like a zoo?
Yes.
Like an open range thing?
Yeah, I can show you some YouTubes, but it's like, basically if this was the bear pen, you're just driving through it, and they can come up to your car.
Oh my gosh.
A lot of people
Grizzlies or black bears?
Black bears, and then you get out at one point and walk around like baby areas, and there's like a grizzly bear.
What other animals?
Fox, wolves, elk,
oh my
deer.
Gosh.
Mm-hmm. But it's all North American animals, so you didn't have to go too far to get the animals.
Yeah, but still, that's
thing.
Very interesting. That sounds like a Dakota job.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds okay. Well, from Dakota to Nashville, and through Bachelor Nation, we've united to Clarksville, just outside of Nashville, this Sunday. Mm-hmm. So for all those that listen to it on Saturday, which most people do, they can come get tickets. What's the best way to get tickets? My Instagram. I shared the thing. It's on the flyer, right?
And then it's on Eventbrite.
On Eventbrite.
The tickets that you can get.
And share with everyone how they can follow you and all of your work you got going on.
So you can follow me on Erica_Faye, F-Y-E. I said I. On Instagram, and then The Humor Collective on Instagram is also our podcast. And you can follow me. You can probably see where we are.
You can show up here.
Whatever you want.
Bring your horse meat. We'll have a party.
Bring that horse meat.
Barbecue it up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can't wait to do your show.
Yes.
And thanks for coming on and telling us a little bit about your life with improv stand-up. And now, do you have a wedding date set?
Yes, October 4th.
All right, everyone, come join us October 4th.
You're inviting.
We're going. We're podcasting, but no. Do you have the location and all that?
Yes. We just need to send our invites. It's in Las Vegas.
Oh, fun.
So that both our families, South Dakota. He's California mainly.
Are you doing like a theme? Is it gonna be like a Vegas theme?
We're trying to figure it out. I don't know how to pick a theme, so we're still
Wild West.
Okay.
So like a saloon style wedding.
Yeah, where like everything. Like, when I come down the aisle, I have to kick in the saloon door.
Meet you at high noon, and it's just you guys. It's like, wow, wow, wow. Just coming from opposite sides of the street.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it.
That's what
I will see if that works.
Well, we'll see how the show goes on Sunday. Maybe we'll share some clips. I'm always like, we'll see how my set goes first.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it'll be somewhere. Like, the best parts.
Maybe something gets thrown at me. There's always like, well, if it goes good, there's a clip. If it goes really bad, there might be a clip. So we'll have to see.
And if it's mediocre, I always post a picture.
There you go. Yeah, you'll know. If it's a tight shot photo that doesn't show the audience, it was mediocre. If the audience is laughing, it was a good set. All right, well, thank you again for joining me today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right.